The modern web has evolved into a space that is dense, demanding, and honestly, a little bit distracting. Every single pop up or a wall of text throws off your rhythm, and after a while, your brain just taps out. But what if the web could quietly adapt to your cognitive load? That's exactly where Lucid comes in, your personal focus assistant that tidies up your screen before the clutter even gets a chance, all with a single click. So, how does Lucid actually work? It begins by analyzing your web page and the way you interact with it. Think of mouse movements, scroll speed, little click patterns, all those micro behaviors you usually don't think about, but Lucid does. It blends these signals into a cognitive load score called CLS, and when it senses strain, it gently clears up your page like a librarian who's had enough of clutter. Lucid is designed around three cognitive science principles. Cognitive load theory reminds us that our mental capacity isn't bottomless. Push too far and the performance drops. Information processing theory tells us how information appears can matter more than the information itself. And the Weber-Fechner law explains why gradual small tweaks feel smoother than sudden jumps. Lucid follows these ideas to keep the experience steady and not jarring. So, how does Lucid really know how cognitive loaded you are? Computing cognitive load starts with understanding the web page itself. So let's say you enter a URL and enable the extension. Lucid immediately begins scanning the page, spotting distracting elements like this pop up, interactive elements like the navigation bar on the left, as well as the one on the right, and even those static text blocks hiding in plain sight. Next, Lucid zooms in into the elements that matter. It compiles a list of modals and pop-ups, like this one and this one, basically the usual troublemakers. Then it flags long or dense text that could feel mentally heavy, marking them for simplification later. Think of it as Lucid saying, "Okay, dude, you're a paragraph, not a novel." In a similar way, Lucid detects text that might be too complex or demanding to process and flags any media that's playing on its own without your consent. Those autoplay videos are the villains in every story, and even Lucid knows it. Now, you might be wondering, how does Lucid know if a piece of text is too long or too complex? By doing something beautifully simple, counting syllables to gauge length, and then applying the well known Flesch Kincaid method to measure complexity. This lets Lucid classify text into low, medium, or high strain zones so it knows exactly where to step in. With the content mapped out, Lucid begins observing your behavior on the page. It looks at how fast you move your mouse, small jitters, and whether you're bouncing around the screen. Finally, Lucid feeds all these parameters into the weighted formula to calculate CLS. This score helps Lucid determine whether your cognitive load is low, medium, or high. And when it is high, Lucid steps in with calm and measured changes. So let's see Lucid in action. Here I have a sample block page open. I'll enable the extension and give it a second to understand what's going on. Almost immediately, Lucid picks up high cognitive strain. There's clearly a lot happening here. Now, when I click this button, Lucid begins adapting the page to bring clarity and ease back into focus. Watch this. Distracting ads vanish. Dense paragraphs get simplified. Long sections collapse neatly with an AI generated heading, and even the autoplaying media gets quietly muted, like it finally took the hint. The page is now lighter, cleaner, and just calmer, exactly what Lucid is built to do. Let's look at how Lucid performs in real testing. Based on a survey of over 25 users, 21, that's roughly 8 out of 10, said they continue to use Lucid for everyday browsing. Users also reported a real drop in mental effort, demonstrated by a reduction of over 24 points in their NASA TLX cognitive load scores. And beyond that, users found Lucid's detection accuracy impressive, with the system reaching nearly 86% accuracy in predicting cognitive load. So, what's next for Lucid? The current model sets the stage, but there's room to grow. Future improvements may include AI driven model upgrades, context sensitive adaptation, and even personalized calibration, each aimed at making cognitive load detection even more precise. Although Lucid is currently a Chrome extension, it can expand to other platforms, and future versions may include dashboards for added transparency and user control. In essence, Lucid takes a thoughtful step towards a more mindful web that doesn't just present content, but quietly works with the human behind the screen.